Hello everyone, this is Naresh IAS Academy platform for the IAS mains exam. Now I am going to discuss next part on General Studies question paper 2 for the IAS mains exam. As I have committed to cover each General Studies question paper in 20 days, this is a part of this series. And today's our topic is tribunals, and topic has great importance according to the questions. So we should try to understand the various dimensions of the topic, and I will try to explain the various aspects of the topic. You may contact for offline classes. We are running at the Jaipur center. Also for the answer writing session. Tribunals, how should we cover the topic? There may be the two dimensions. First, basis of any tribunals, and second, the functioning of the tribunals, and examples of the tribunals are, this is the CAT, Central Administrative Tribunal, NGT, National Green Tribunals, and so many. You should analyze the topic in this way. First of all, what do you mean by the term tribunals? And simply any agency or body which has some legal authority to take action against those persons have committed something wrong. Generally, this is done by the court only. In India, what are the basis for the foundation of tribunals? We can say there may be a constitutional or statutory basis, but there is no constitutional basis, because in Indian constitution there is no provision for the foundation of such kinds of tribunals. It means it has only statutory basis, and through the 42nd Amendment Act by the Indira government in 1976 acquired the power in their hand to establish these tribunals. So then tribunals has only the legal or statutory basis, not constitutional in India. Next aspect is why the tribunals are necessary and the what circumstances bounded the government to establish the tribunals. Mainly, the one suggestion came from the side of Supreme Courts, and second, this was realized the necessity of such bodies by the government itself. In India, when we realize the functioning of judiciary, this is the integrated judiciary, at the lowest level these are the lower courts, and above the lower court these are the high courts, and above the high court this is the Supreme Court. Simply the judiciary is accountable to take decision in civilian or criminal cases, but there are some cases are not absolutely sometimes civilians or criminals, and when there was a overburden of these cases over the High Court or Supreme Court, then Supreme Court suggested the Union government to shifted the overburden to other kinds of agencies, those have some judicial power. That's why Union government determined to create the such tribunal. And second aspect was from the government side. Government have established in India according to constitution the rule of law. Under the law or various acts, so many agencies we have established, and these agencies are working under the law and executing the different norms and parameters for their functionings. But sometime it have seen these agencies have made wrong decisions and they have taken the biased decisions, and some peoples are adversely affected. So when they sought justice from these agencies, they were not given the complete justice. That's why the decisions of these agencies are working under the law and their decision must be challenged either High Court or Supreme Court or any other tribunals or agencies. So the government took the decision and these tribunals were founded. So basically the two bases in India, all the tribunals have statutory basis and they were created to shifted overburden of cases from the Supreme Court or High Court to these tribunals, and this was the necessity of government. Second is what are the examples of various tribunals? This is the CAT, Central Admin Tribunals or NGT, and there are so many tribunals. For example, the Income Tax Appellate Tribunals, Excise and Service Tax Appellate Tribunals. So it means that these tribunals have some judicial power, the power of civil court, or very few power just like a criminal court. So the tribunals are not just like the quasi judicial bodies. Simply quasi judicial bodies have exercise only the civil court powers. For example, Election Commission of India have the power of civilian court, and the Election Commission of India exercise or enjoy so many quasi judicial powers, but tribunals have more power than the quasi judicial bodies. Through the functioning, we have to understand the role of the tribunals in India. First, when we are saying through the tribunals we have shifted the overburden to the tribunals, how much it is true in the Indian circumstances? Prima facie we can say any cases which starts from the lower court, then decision of lower court are appealed in the High Court or then in Supreme Court, right? Prima facie we have shifted 80% of cases toward the different tribunals. CAT is entitled to take decision or administer the matters regarding the central personnel, officers and the employees. Before the CAT, these cases were brought before the either High Court or Supreme Court. So we have directly shifted these matters. Same in the case of the environmental or ecology matters. So many activities of human beings or in some extent by the industries, factories or the government developmental schemes are adversely affecting the environment and ecology, and initially these kinds of decisions, these kinds of matters were brought before the court, but now these are shifted toward the NGT. So simply when we are saying we have shifted a much cases toward the tribunals, but finally when the any tribunals adjudicate any case and render the final decision, it is not mandatory. The decisions of these tribunals further can be challenged either High Court or Supreme Court. So simply we have shifted the overburden at the primary or intermediary levels. Finally we are challenging the decisions of the tribunals in Supreme Court definitely. Simply it is a short term relief to the judiciary. And second is the functioning of tribunals, how much is effective. Supreme Court and High Court generally are considered the professional court or the professional bodies, because the judicial background peoples are only authorized to take decision in the civilian or criminal matter. Simply the person having a too much experience of the judicial matters. But in case of CAT, NGT or the other tribunals, most of officials are the retired person from the union or state governments, and when they take decision against the officers working under central or state government, definitely it is a much scope for influencing. So that's why we cannot hope the CAT will take a transparent decision or unbiased decision. And so the rule of law here describe that finally we must challenge the decision of these tribunals at the top level of the legal agency, which is a Supreme Court, so that any cases or matters must be discussed on the judicial grounds only. No executive, financial or legislative aspect should be discussed. Simply any affected person want the justice only. On the other hand, we cannot say the role and functioning of the tribunals is not too much affecting. However, they are playing an important role. For example, the NGT is a too much effective tribunals in Indian matters. Any organization or by the corporation or their activities are against the environment, or they are increasing pollution in any river, so NGTs have authority to impose the economic penalty, and NGT have done in the different cases, and NGT have ordered to shifted specific kinds of industries and factories those are against the wildlife or are responsible for creating or increasing the pollutions. But when some decisions were rendered by the NGTs and they were questioned before the Supreme Court. So there are two aspects. One is the role of tribunals. Definitely in Indian circumstances is respectable. We must praise this, because India is a large country according to population, and we cannot hope each and every cases must be brought before the High Court or Supreme Court. It is not possible. Our courts are already under the overburden. So some burden is shifted toward the tribunals. And second aspect is, now we can enhance or improve their performances, and we can grant some more power, so that only in the rarest of the rare cases their decision should be challenged in Supreme Court only. It may be, it is under discussion before the Indian lawmakers or political parties or person those are running the government in India. So in future we may expect more powers should be transferred to the tribunal so that we can minimize the overburdens over the Supreme Courts. So then you should try to the role of tribunals in this regard. Okay, thank you.